So you want to learn to handstand, but you don't know where to start? I've got 5 exercises for a complete beginner to get you started on your handstand journey. So the first exercise we're going to be working on here is just to show you how we PPT, so posterior pelvic tilt, and also working on protraction with the back. So Courtney's going to grab the band, just bring it in between her wrists, and she's going to bring it up just where she brings her elbows in line with her shoulders. Now what she's going to do here is to be pulling the band apart so we create some tension. And what we're looking for here is the ribs are going to get pulled down and we're creating a nice rounded back. From here, she's going to squat down a little bit. She's going to tuck her pelvis, and now she's going to just come up onto the toes to test her balance a little bit. From here, she's constantly pulling the wrists apart and keeping that shoulders and elbows along that straight line. She can also now start to push the elbows away from her to give her that nice rounded back position, and just focusing here on keeping the pelvis tucked throughout the whole movement. So exercise number 2, we're now going to encourage this overhead range but maintaining that nice rounded back. This will also teach us to stop flaring the ribs when we enter into our handstand. So what I'll get Courtney to do is we're going to take a reverse grip on this, so she's going to be having her palms facing up. This will encourage that wrapping of the shoulders and in particular external rotation in the shoulders. She's going to pull her ribs down. We're going to suck the stomach in so she's keeping that nice flat back. We're going to squeeze the legs together so she has a nice little bit of tension. And then she's going to push the hands away from her, and if it's available to her, she's aiming to raise those hands off the floor. Now once we do this, I want you to make sure that the back stays nice and flat. So what you might notice, if she just lowers back down, you might notice that when she raises up, a lot of people, if they're restricted in that overhead range, they may actually arch from the lower back and even up into that thoracic area. So if she does that on purpose, you'll see now she's just arching from this position. So we're going to tuck the pelvis back down, flatten that back right back out, and now you can see she's using that overhead range to maintain that position. Exercise number 3, we're now working on overcoming kick-ups. So for some of us, if we're just starting our journey to handstands, what you'll find is that awareness of where our hips need to stop, we just need to start to create that pattern in the body. So this is a good exercise to start that. So what Courtney's going to do is she's placing her hands now just wider than shoulder width, or you can go just in front of the shoulders. We'll aim on keeping the index finger forward, and now from here what she is going to do, she's going to lean forward a little bit with the shoulders. She's aiming to push from her toes and her hands and bringing her hips up as high as she can, and then just lower back down. We continue this again, so she pushes right up through the back. She pushes from the toes a little bit and brings her hips up nice and high and lower back down. When we've done that, we can focus a little bit on head position here. So we'd usually gaze between your thumbs or your first knuckle. So now she's going to push up again. She's going to keep the same head position, which encourages her to open up the shoulders, and then she lowers back down. So exercise number 4, we're now going to condition that position that we've just been trying to enter into. So what we usually do here, it can be, for some of us, can be quite daunting to go against the wall. So we'll find ourselves an elevated surface, and then to get into this position, we're going to start to raise the hips up. We're going to bring one knee up and keep it as close to the edge of that elevated surface. We're going to bring the opposite one up as we push the floor away, and we're going to bring our hands in as close as we feel comfortable as we keep that same position that we taught before here with the head. So we're looking down the forearms at that thumb, our first knuckle, and we're actively pushing our armpits towards our knees. So when we're in this position, we want to make sure that we stay elevated. So you can see now we're pushing up through the shoulders here. If we just show a synced shoulder, we want to make sure we're pushing that floor away throughout this whole movement. This is just to strengthen that area here of the back, so in and around the traps, and also getting used to that nice position that we would find in a handstand. To come out, we just walk the hands forward, we maintain pushing through, and then we're going to bring one leg down, we bring the opposite leg down. Exercise number 5, we've now overcome that little bit of nervousness in entering into a handstand, so we're now ready to kick up against the wall. So if you do have a spotter, I would recommend a spotter being there, but if not, don't worry, we're going to use the wall as a bit of assistance. So when we kick up in this position, same thing applies. We look to place our hands on the floor about shoulder width apart with our index fingers facing forward. In terms of an eye gaze, we're going to look down those forearms at that first knuckle and along that line. So I'm going to get Courtney just to step into a lunge. She's going to place her hands down, and now she's kicking up while she pushes that floor away, allowing herself to hit the wall. So we're using the wall as a little bit of assistance. We just come back down, back to where we started from. If that's easy, now she's gonna kick up. She's gonna try not to touch the wall, but we are here to help just in case. So she enters up, she tries to find that little bit of balance, good. And now she's using her fingertips to pull her off the wall as she comes back down. Nice.